Go?
Yep.
I'm L.C. Kramer, and I was in high school. I didn't like it, and I had 1 semester to go, so I ran away from home. Went to Wichita, where my sister was, and worked in a restaurant, had something to eat, and a dry place to stay, so I thought that was a big deal. So I come back to Washington, Kansas, and my uncle was back from Oregon, Salem, Oregon, and he was in the Navy, and I was going to get in the Navy, and I couldn't pass my test. Like they said I was colorblind. So I talked to my uncle into going out and staying with him in Oregon, and he gave me this book and showed me the numbers and everything. I thought, well, heck, I can get through this. And so I went into, from Salem, I went to Portland, and took the test, and I couldn't make it. Flip the pages around. I didn't know where I was at. And so they wouldn't let me go, so I thought, well, I'm a 4F, and I'll just go to the Army, and they won't take me, so I'll stay out here. And Camp Adair was out there, and their wives worked in this carrot factory. So I got a job out there, which was real good. And so then I left there and come back, and I thought, well, I'll see what the Army does. And so they took me, didn't even feel me, they took me into Washington, give us those shots. Left there, and got on a train, and we come back right through Kansas to Camp Walters in, I think it was in Texas. And they gave us a little bit of training there, and then shipped us out, and we went into where's the Statue of Liberty?
New York.
Where?
New York.
Yeah, I went to New York, and of course we had to be there, and none of us was old enough to drink, but we had this captain was there, and he said, well, if you're old enough to wear a uniform, you're surely old enough to have a drink. So we, of course, went ahead and had 2 or 3 drinks. Thought that was a big deal. And got on the Queen Elizabeth, one of the biggest ships on the ocean, and went over to England. We was in England for about a week, and then we went through France, and from there we went to they put us on platoons and sent it across the channel, and so that was 5 days plus D-Day. And there were soldiers of all kinds and men of all kinds and related, and they had cats in there covering them up. St. Lo was a little town there, and the only thing there was one wall was a standing. So we went through, we took off. I was at the 30th Infantry Division, and we went through France, and I can't tell you exactly how in order how it was, but we ended up in Belgium, and as we was going through there, the nuns come out and give us a beer, and it had that lid on it like them old jars with that wire. And boy, you open that up and that baby would be blue coming out of there. We wanted to stay there for a while, my buddy and I, but we had to go on. So we went on and went through on France, and after we got to Belgium, before we got to Belgium, well, after we got to Belgium, why, we went through the Siegfried line, and I got hit in the leg and laid in the barn for a couple of days. And then they flew us out, went back to England, and so the guys in there said, would you like to have a beer? And I said, sure. So they had them gates, or them fences over there had them steel posts with a arrow on top. And I said, I can't get up there. Well, we'll help you. So they helped me up there, and another guy was on the other side. He was going to catch me. I caught my pajama leg. It fell, and I busted my wound open. And we went in and drank, and I said, boy, I've got to get back out of here. So they took me back into the gate, and a major was mad, and he said they had to cut it open again. And he said, you're lucky that you fell, because it had healed on the inside. Or it didn't heal on the inside, it healed on the inside, but not on the outside there, and I'd have gotten infection. So he cut it all open again. I stayed there for, I think, 1 week or maybe 2. They started making us go on hikes, 5 miles, and full field pack and everything. And of course, I and my buddy, we couldn't make it. So the wagon would always come out and pick us up and take us back. And we done that 2 or 3 times, from the 5 miles to 10, 15, and they finally come out and said, okay, all you guys that can't make this walking, we're going to put you in the hospital, emptying latrines. So of course none of us wanted to do that, so we did make it. And we left there and got back into my own outfit. And we went on the Elbe River, and we had rubber boats. We were supposed to, on full field pack and everything, we were supposed to cross, and that little river was really running. And old Mike, this buddy of mine, he reached up and grabbed a limb and upset us. And in the water we went, and we stayed on top pretty good because that field pack was tight. But I started going down, the little lieutenant jumped in and pulled me out. And we got dried off and went on. And then we met the Germans. I can't think of what town it was. I don't really remember. But anyway, we met the Russians. And they'd send, them Germans would try to come over and swim and do everything they could to get out of the Russians' way. And we seen some of them Russians. Them women were bigger than a lot of us. And they was in there. And then we come back, and we was going to go to, I can't remember what town we were supposed to go to, but anyway, we left and went to this place and had to go back to Malmedy. And I didn't hear, I'll tell, the blacks was in there. And they got up and went in the trucks and took off. We had to use our own guns, fight our own guns. You don't take long for that. We went up in the Ardennes Mountains. I think 8 of us out of that one platoon is all that ever made it out of there. And then we come back and joined the outfit again. We was all together. And before that, we took this one little town. I can't remember the name of it. And they sent Mike and I ahead, and we surrounded, went way out around the town. And we had a 30 caliber machine gun and BAR. We had more guns and stuff all we could carry. We dug in, and then the other soldiers come in behind us. And we were sitting there talking as early in the morning, and here this German come on a bicycle. He was just humming along and racing. I told Mike, I said, I'll bet you $5 I can hit one of these tires and knock him off of there. No, I'll call that bet. We was shaking and laughing so bad, and I shot him. I missed him. I never seen a man that could ride a bicycle go 3 feet in the air and turn in the air and keep pedaling. That boy kept going. He was scared. And Mike took a shot and missed him too. We'd done a lot of things we shouldn't have done as younger ones. And so then we come back and we was going to go to, supposed to go to the, down where you guys, the Navy guys was fighting. And we got on the Queen Mary and just got started. And that's when they dropped them A-bombs. And then we didn't have to go. So, but well, I can tell you a lot of stories. It was, we was young, and the older guys, they didn't think, you know, I wasn't smart enough, I guess, to know what was going on. Until I got hit, and then that, but then we come back and went to, let's see, Camp Walters, is there, no? It was in North Carolina, where that Army, that's where our outfit was from. We got there, and then they was gonna let us go, you know, do us out. And I wouldn't sign mine. And they said, how come? And I said, well, I got hit, and I want it on my records. All I do is I want it on my record. So they said, well, we can keep you. And I said, I don't care, I'm not married. There's women around here and enough to drink, so that's all we care. So we went, and about a week or 2 weeks, they got tired of me and the 2 other guys, and so they turned us loose. And then we jumped on a train and got part way. And we just kind of hitchhiked our way back from there. I bought back a P-38, Luger, and a .38, and I got 3 daughters. And I gave each one of them one of them. I had a set of little 25s that I had. Them German people were nice people, really. They was clean, and them older people, you could talk to them. And so they, you know, we got along with them good enough anyway. So that was all I had. I can tell you a lot of stories you wouldn't believe them.
Okay, I got drafted in June 1944. Took my basic training at Fort McClellan, Alabama. Went overseas in December 1944. Was in England in December 25 in 1944. In fact, we ate Christmas dinner there. And then we were shipped on down to France in January 1945. Went to Belgium to the front lines in January 1945. And let's see, I sat there on the Belgian border for all through January. And there was snow on the ground all that time. It was cold. And then on January 30th, they said that we were going to go into action. And since there was snow on the ground, we were all issued white coveralls so that we'd be harder to see, I guess you might say. And the first action we saw was in January 30, 1945. We took 3 towns in Belgium that had been lost in what they call the Battle of the Bulge. That was a few months ahead of that. The next 3 months, to keep up with the front lines, we traveled over 150 miles to keep up. And it was rough going. In fact, we rode on the back of tanks because I was in the infantry. We lost some guys with injuries, of course. The squad lost their first, or the squad that I was in lost our first scout. And of course our squad leader told me, he said, okay, you're going to be the first scout. And I said, surely not me. Well, he said, yes, you are. because of enemy fire, I got a bullet hole in my helmet, I know that. And that was kind of a scary position to be in. That's all I've got.
You found out what that helmet was for, didn't you?
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed that I had a hole in my helmet because we used our helmets for wash basins, you know.
It wouldn't hold.
And you know, it wouldn't hold water, so.
Did you get to keep it?
No, they issued me another one. I wish I could have kept it.
Yeah.
But I was in the infantry and I was loaded with ammunition and everything else, so I was carrying all I could carry.
I can tell you another one about those helmets. You know, we had some green troops come in over there while we were on the beach at Lincoln Gulf, and we were helping them unload, and strung a line out there because the water was all the way from 2 to 6, 8 feet deep, and we had to swim a little bit. But this one kid come off and he had his helmet all buttoned up underneath, you know. And I said, "You better unbuckle that button, unbutton that helmet." Oh, he said, "That I don't want to lose that." I said, "Well, you either lose it or it's going to choke you to death." Just about the time he unbuttoned it, he went underwater and that helmet flipped off over the back of his head. Now, if he'd have had it hooked up, he couldn't have unhooked it.
Yeah.
I finally had to I tipped it up over his head and dumped the water out and then unhooked it for him and dropped it in the ocean. He said, "Oh, I don't want to lose that." I told him not to worry about it. We had about 1,000 of them on the beach, so he could take his pick.
I'm Raymond Shellito. I volunteered for the Navy in March of '43, but they didn't pick me up until later, April, I think, or May, April. And Junior Timmons, Don Timmons, Dale Chamberlain, or Dale Dutton, Matt Burgess, Matt McNerney, and us all went down to go to thing. Well, they accepted me in the Navy, Don Dude Timmons also, and David Dutton. And we went to Farragut, Idaho. Have you ever been there? That's where we put our boot camp. And then a farm boy, I had to learn to swim before I could get out. And Dalen Dutton was the same way. So we spent a lot of time night instead of sleeping trying to learn to swim. And then when we got through for our test, we had to jump off a 45-foot tower into the pool. You had to take your pants off there, wool, tie a knot in the leg, and when of course it was wet, you blowed it up. That was your life jacket. If you couldn't do that, you still couldn't get out of camp. And then we went home on leave, and then we come back, and we were transferred to Bremerton, Washington. And there we thought we were stuck because they never even we had to sleep under mattresses for our covers. And the two guys, Gerald Rustin and Richard Sonnenberg, came from Alaska. And they had us believing they were sending us to Alaska. And Sonnenberg had froze his nose and his ears off. And he said he just did it walking across the street. And we thought, oh, what are we in for now? And we boarded the South Dakota. That's the ship we got on. And when we got on, and the next day they called the inspection. We all lined up for inspection, I mean each division. And Bull Halsey was on. He walked through and he told us, he said, if there's anybody here that can't take orders, leave now. And so we went, and he was a real nice person. And we were the most decorated ship in the fleet. And when we left, we went to the Hawaiian Islands. Then we worked our way all the way to New Guinea on bombardment islands, shooting them with. And we making trenches for the guys to go on. And we went, and then we came back through to the Philippine Islands on the other side. And of course we was in those islands. And when we got to the Philippines and Luzon, and of course we were always 3 months ahead of anything else the fleet was. And we had to go through the Baltic Straits into China. And they had a report that they had a lot of ships around there, the Japs did. Well, they had some, but it turned out it was sampans and different things. They used them to run into the vessels. And then we got, and they said we got 110. And that's what they recorded on our recorder. And ships, they called them, but they were sampans and stuff. And then we came back out of there, we went up to Formosa, and there up to Iwo Jima. And we was there 3 months before they had the thing, the landing. And then and by all this time, I spent 2 years, and the only place I made liberty in was Japan and the Hawaiian Islands. That's how we were all on the go constantly. And this picture shows you how the suicide planes and stuff, they did get us once. And when we were in Japan, then we were in the harbor, and they brought the Missouri in with all the boots, all new clothes and everything to sign the peace treaty. And we had to sit there. But we went clear through, they signed the peace treaty on the Missouri. That was on account of Harry S. Truman. That is what I call it. But then when they were over, why we come back to the United States to Spokane, Washington. And no, it's San Francisco, California. And when we came back, we had, for every rack we had 3 guys. That was me plus 2. And they had certain times you could sleep on it, otherwise but it was my way. And they were real nice people, so we brought 3 times our guys' ship to get the soldiers and stuff back. And and I went back after I got leave, went back and on the Iowa and went back to Japan. There's only 2 guys in every division that was, they called them old saws. The rest of them were boots. Bernard Buss was one of them that was on there with me. He was a new one just come on. And the Tokyo Rose, every night at 12 o'clock, she sank us. And of course we got a bang out of that. And so that's where I spent 2 years.